How's it going, guys? It's Isaiah here bringing you PMC Season 4, week number, what's the week? It's 6. This is week number 6. We are 3-2, and we are the Great Lake Greninjas, going up against the Grimbsy Town Grimers and Blue Rogue. Sorry, his logo got kind of cut off there, but oh well. Another post-com, unfortunate, but whatever. We had to figure out a good time, but yeah. Here we are. You can see the team he brought. If you want to check out my team and in depth, make sure you check out the team builder, which goes over the team pretty much that I built to battle Blue Rogue. Two things I don't see is Togekiss and Gengar on his team, which is really good because those are potential brings. Also, he didn't bring Druddigon, which is fine, and then he didn't bring Jinx or Volbeat, which I didn't really care about. So, yeah. Here we have the battle. So, looking at his team, he did bring his really good Firewater Grass core there in Rotom Heat, Seismitoad, and Roserade, and then he has the Sand and then Megalopony, very standard-ish team. So yeah, let's get right into the battle because let's not waste time. I decided to lead with Sock because it just looked good against his team. I mean, you know, I could just pretty much close combat a lot of things. He didn't have his Gengar to switch into it, and I'm Choice Scarf, so a lot of speed against the entire team. I was actually predicting to run or to lead Megalopony because he likes to lead Megalopony and go for Fake Out. I am Inner Focus though, so I cannot get flinched if he does go for Fake Out turn 1. He actually leads Seismitoad, which is unfortunate. I'm going to switch because I could go for Scarf Toxic. By the way, I don't know if I said this in the team build, but I did switch Brick Break to Toxic because I felt like it was more useful in this matchup. So yeah, he goes for Scald. I was hoping he'd go for Scald and not Stealth Rocks as I switch in, but even if he went for Stealth Rocks, it's a win-win because I can just Rapid Spin with Cryogonal. No burn. I didn't want to stay in and get burned and risk that, so that's obviously why I switched. So I'm going to go for Toxic here, predicting the switch, because his only real switch into that would have been Excadrill, and I have Gliscor to switch into Excadrill if he wants to bring in that. So I kind of predicted Rotom Heat or Tyranitar, one of those two. Something like that, and yeah, he goes into this thing, which is completely fine. We get Toxic off now. Depending on his set, we could be able to, we could wall this thing if it's bulky. If it's offensive, then we're not going to. I decided to run the risk because I don't really have an Overheat switch in. I didn't bring, you know, Salazzle or Blastoise, anything like that. Seeing how I outsped, I was pretty sure he was bulky, and that damage pretty much proves that he's either special defensive or physically defensive, because that was not enough damage to be offensive. So yeah, we're gonna go for the recover here, just stall him out, which is fine, because we can. And he's gonna go for the Volt Switch, get on out of there, and yeah, it does like nothing because we are especially defensive, and we'll take that just fine. He's gonna switch into Daylocal, which is his Excadrill, and we have a switch into this thing every time, which is Gliscor. So we're gonna switch on out of there, and we're gonna go into Gliscor. And we're gonna take the Iron Head just fine. Yeah, Iron Head is a pretty obvious play there. If he had gone for Stealth Rocks, that would have been bad, but luckily he did not do that. Now here I'm gonna take this opportunity to go for a Stealth Rocks because I know he's not gonna stay in because he can't risk his Excadrill this early. So he goes into Susan Boyles here, which is his Seismitoad, and I'm just gonna go for the Stealth Rocks, and I'm gonna get him up. And that's pretty cool. And I really wanted to predict him to predict my Cryogonal switch and stay in, like hopefully maybe like predicting like Stealth Rocks or actually not Stealth Rocks, because Cryogonal will be this proper switch if he did switch in it, or if he did go for Stealth Rocks. But you know, he does go for knockoff here. I really wanted to stay in and predict like something like that, but it just wasn't worth it because Skull was doing too much, and Gliscor was my reliable switch into my reliable like switch into Excadrill and like actually forcing it out. So I had to keep that thing alive. It would have been nice to get Toxic off there, though, but whatever. So I have Cryogonal here. I'm just going to fire off... Oh, never mind. I go for Recover here. I guess that's later on. I just fire off Nice Beam. But, yeah, I go for the Recover there, yeah, which is a smart play because I wanted to keep Cryogonal alive and well. And luckily that happened, and we were able to deal with that. Let's do something like this one. Yeah, okay. So, yeah. Let's turn. Okay, we're good. I'm just trying to figure out. So basically, I'm just kind of sitting here trying to wall this thing out. I can recover. He can Pain Split, which I was hoping he wouldn't have Pain Split. I was hoping he had like HP Ice for Gliscor or Will-O-Wisp, something like that. Actually, yeah, like both of those, but he didn't. So I'm just gonna keep recovering here because I do win this after a while since he's Toxic, which is really useful. So he's gonna go for a Volt Switch here, and gonna bring in Gemma here, or Gemma, whatever. as you know, it's Mega Lopunny, and that's a problem. Luckily, though, we do have a switch into this thing, which is my Dusclops. I brought Gliscor and Dusclops because, like a sub SD Excadrill could technically, it could definitely beat my Dusclops if it's like very HP invested. Then it could live Seismitoads behind subs, and that could be bad. So that's why I brought both of them. So and this thing's better for Mega Lopunny because Mega Lopunny could run Ice Punch for Gliscor, whereas Ice Punch doesn't do anything to this thing. You're gonna see Return does a good chunk. Looking at that, damage is probably Jolly, but you know, it could be either, to be honest. And yeah, I'm just gonna fire off a Will-O-Wisp because I was hoping he wouldn't bring in Rotom Heat, because if he was, then I couldn't I couldn't go for like Shadow Sneak or whatever. He does go to Jose, which does get Natural Cure as an ability. Not sure if he actually wants to run that or not, but if he is, then Burn's just pretty much gonna cancel out the Black Sludge as long as he's in, and he's gonna heal if he switches out. But again, he might not be Natural Cure. Who knows? So yeah, I'm going to switch out here because I don't want to, take hit. I was thinking about protecting just to scalp, but luckily that was, switching in here was the proper play. My safety goggles are gone because of Seismitoad, so I could have gotten Sleep Powdered, but he just goes for Spikes there, which is really good because if I had protected, that would have been a free layer of Spikes for him. But since I switched into Cryogonal, which Cryogonal really did a lot for me in this game, like passively, was just always there, so that's really nice. And if he doesn't have Rapid Spin Drill, which I'm thinking he doesn't because so basically I'm just going to go for Rapid Spin here. I'm thinking he doesn't have Rapid Spin Drill because he has Tyranitar with the Sand, so I'm thinking this one's going to try to sweep. If it does have Rapid Spin, then it can get rid of the rocks, but if it doesn't have Rapid Spin, then the rocks are just going to stay there, and that's going to be really, really nice for me. So I'm going to Rapid Spin with Cryogonal, get the Spikes out of there, because I don't want Spikes on my field. It's just not good, even though it doesn't really hurt my team that much. Because this doesn't get affected by it, Gliscor doesn't get affected by it, Most of my team is relatively healthy, but I'm just going to bring in Scar again. He is whittling this thing slowly but surely. He does go for sub here, which is fine. The only really thing here is if he flinches me out with Iron Heads, but I mean, obviously that's a real long shot, and he's not going to stay in if he doesn't have a sub up, so revealing the sub would just, whatever. I don't really know, because this just gives me more Poison Heal, whereas if he had Iron Headed and then switched, that would have been better for him, but yeah, he's gonna stay in there, go for the Iron Head, and I'll just fire off the EQ and break the sub. Luckily, it didn't get flinched. If I had flinched that turn, I probably just would have roosted the next turn, because I do have Roost and Poison Heal, which is amazing. But yeah, Botcha, as Excadrill is going to get the sub snapped in half, and yep. So I'm gonna get the Poison Heal, which is beautiful. And it's not really beautiful, it's just kind of whatever. He's gonna switch out, which is good for me, and I'm just going to what did I do here? I think I just went for Earthquake. No, I switched out too. Okay. Oh yeah, this time I predicted him to switch. I didn't really know what he was gonna switch into, so I'm kind of like multitasking right now, but I'll just do this one, whatever. Because I'm live editing the music in here. Shout out to Glitch City, by the way. That's a music. Link to that channel will be in the description below. So here I just went for Toxic, and because I was really hoping he wouldn't Scald. He does go for Scald, gets a crit, but not the burn. I'd rather have the crit over burn every time, unless the crit would have killed me, but obviously it didn't, so now I can just switch into Edios here, and even if he wants to knock off, I don't have an item anymore, so again, I mean, Cryogonal was the better switch in for this thing instead of staying in Intoxicating, because I risked my Sock getting burnt, which would have absolutely, really really sucked, but luckily I didn't get burned, and I'm just going to be able to switch into Cryogonal here. Here, I just go for the Ice Beam because he doesn't have a solid switch into that. Rotom Heat I don't think takes 2 because of the rocks, and this thing doesn't take 2 either, but I can't outspeed it, so I'm just going to go into the Clops here, the the Dusclops, and I'm going to be able to take, I was hoping he wouldn't click High Jump Kick, but unfortunately he does make that play, which is a really good read on his end, instead of going for a return. Now this does enough to where it will probably 2KO me. I was hoping he'd risk that, because I went for Protect this turn, and if he had gone for High Jump Kick he would have died, because the High Jump Kick would have, not hit, because I would have gone for Protect and it would have killed him, because it does damage if you don't hit that move especially. But he does bring in Tasty, which is unfortunate because he can probably pain split here. What I do is just go for protect here just to scout what he wants to do. So yeah, I'm just gonna go for, he goes for pain split, which is fine. We don't get affected by that. What I could have done there was not go for protect, and I could have went for seismic toss that turn, and then probably live, because here he's gonna go for overheat. Again, not offensive, so I won't be able to take it, but you're gonna see here, I'm gonna go for the seismic toss, and he ends up being Rocky Helmet. So he's gonna drop my Dusclops. Now, if I had taken the pain split and gone for the seismic toss and then protected, I probably would have kept my Dusclops around, but at the same time that would have been potentially bad, because then Excadrill could switch in and go for a sub, and if he had enough HP to take a seismic toss and live behind the sub, then that would have been really bad. But luckily that did not happen. So Sock's gonna come in here. It was a double down. I just felt like Sock was the best play because it's the most offensive thing against his team at this point. I'm just gonna click close combat, hoping that he goes for fake out. But he does switch in, at this point he has no switch in. Like even max HP Rose rate, because the rocks, I mean, it does get 2 KO'd. So I'm just going to go for close combat, bring this thing down low enough to where I can kill it, take it out again. Now if I had, if the Toxic had killed him right here, if I got a little bit of higher roll, Lopunny most likely would not have been able to take me out with fake out, because I did have a little bit of bulk. Or it would have been a roll, but if I was only at -1 defense, and I was like up at a little bit over 50%, I might have been able to take a fake out. If I was able to take a fake out, then I would have, obviously got the inner focus and taken this thing out, which would have been amazing. But because then all he'd have was like T-Tower, Razor, and Excadrill, but that doesn't happen, so I'm gonna switch because I'm at -2 defense at this point. The fake out's obvious here, so I'm just gonna switch into Sceptile. I don't really have anything else I want to switch into, so I'm gonna take this hit very badly. That did a lot for a weak move like fake out, but he's gonna switch on out of there, and Jose's gonna switch in, which is pretty much always gonna be the switch in, as I'm gonna Mega Evolve and go for the dual chop, expecting that, or expecting this thing to switch in. Luckily, that's what he does. I'm just gonna get the dual chop again. Dual chop over Dragon's Claw. They both do the same amount of damage. Dual chop just hits twice. I mean, dual chop has 90% accuracy. Dragon Claw is 100. I just want dual chop in case he brought like a sashed Gengar, because that would have been really bad. But regardless, that didn't happen. He didn't bring that, so Dragon Claw would have been better here. I switch out. I know he's not Scarf, but I don't want to risk missing a dual chop, because that would suck, obviously. Craggle not really needed for anything else, so I'm just gonna bring it in here and just kind of let it. I mean, just do its duty. Now I didn't want to recover here and risk him going for Sleep Powder, so I ended up just going for Ice Beam. He doesn't have the best of switch-ins. He could have gone into Tyranitar there, but then I would have just gone for Toxic and whatever. So he does end up switching or leaving his Roserade in, which I think was the best play. It really didn't do anything for him at that point. He's going to go on a Rampage, seeing how he brought this thing in right here instead of like Excadrill. I'm thinking this thing's going to be offensive. He gets a Sand Up, so no Unnerve. Obviously, Sand Rush Excadrill is a problem. And I'm expecting a D-Dance right here. I'm going to go for the Toxic. I luckily landed. If I had not landed that would have been terrible. Keep in mind, I haven't even brought in Jirachi yet. I've just been switching in like the same kind of things. So he goes for Rock Pulse actually instead of Dragon Dance, which is kind of scarier because, because now I can't outspeed him with Sock. If he just got one D-Dance up, I would have been able to bring in Sock and just went for close combat. But unfortunately, well, yeah, if he had gone for like 2 Dragon Dances, I would be able to Ice Beam, wear him down even more with Toxic. But Rock Polish is pretty damn bad because luckily he wasn't Lumberry. That would have been bad as well. But yeah, so here I'm gonna bring in IDK. Hoping that he has, I'm trying to stall out the Sand Raid, so I'm hoping that he goes for like an Ice move. I'm hoping he has Rock Polish, Dual Stab, and like Ice Punch, or probably Ice Punch. So I'm going to predict the Ice Punch and go into Cryptic. That was the worst play I could have made, because he does in fact have the EQ. Not boosted at all, so I'm going to take the hit because I have max HP, but not very well at all, and that's really, really bad. So I'm going to go for the Protect here just to stall the Toxic turns. I was hoping he would. I was hoping he have Dual Stab and then like Ice Stab or Ice Punch or something, but he doesn't have. Like obviously he's gonna have like an Ice move, So he has Rock Polish, EQ, and Crunch here, as you can see, which is obviously nice for Jirachi. And I don't know that last move, so I gotta keep that in mind. So yeah, the Toxic's gonna whittle him down here, and he gets pretty damn low at this point. So I'm thinking, all right, if he stays in here, he gets low enough from the Toxic to where he dies to a Stealth Box and he can't get the sand back up. So I'm guessing I was thinking he want to switch out there right after I clicked Protect. I was trying to go for the double Protect, but obviously that didn't work. Sandstorm subsides, which is whatever. And I really, like, right after click Protect, I'm like, wait, he's gonna switch because he needs the sand for Excadrill. And I'm like, damn it, but whatever. So basically, from now on, like, every time Stalk comes in, it's gonna get a kill. So I have to get that thing as many times as possible. But got switching to Gliscor at this point. Gonna go for the sub he's gonna go for the sub, and that's okay. I'm just going to I mean, same thing. I mean, this is like deja vu, right? I mean, we've already done this like millions of times. So yeah, he's going to go for the Iron Head. I'm going to take this hit relatively well, as always. I mean, this is obviously my switch in every time. Damn, this is a long ass game. Oh my goodness. Luckily, I'm recording this right now. Cause, whew. All right. Hopefully the music isn't too loud or whatever. If anything, I'd rather it be too quiet. But yeah. Again, shouts to Glitch X City for the music. And yeah, so I'm gonna break this up there, just whatever. Again, if I don't get flinched, I just pretty much win with Scar, unless that T-Tar has Ice Beam or whatever. So he's gonna switch out here, going to Gemma. He has to sack something at this point, which it's gonna be the Lopunny. So I'm just gonna go for the EQ. Luckily, I didn't roost. I was thinking about roosting because I didn't want to get flinched with Iron Head, or even if he had gone for Iron Head, I would be relatively low, and I kind of wanted this thing for the Lopunny. But you know, I mean, if he'd stayed in there, then I would have pretty much won. If I dropped the Excadrill. So yeah, and then Rampage is gonna come in here. Okay, so this thing has really bad speed. It's like space 61, but I didn't have any speed on this Gliscor, so I should have calced it, but I was hoping. I really should have just clicked EQ here, because I probably would have outsped. Because Gliscor is base 95 speed. It's pretty damn fast. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen. I'm going to switch into Cryptic. Hope he goes for Ice type move. He does go for Ice Beam, so good thing I switched. But at the same time, if I outsped, I would have just been able to go for an EQ and not worry about any of this. But that did not happen, clearly. So I have to kind of worry about this thing now. I believe, look at this. So I'm really hoping that Stealth Box will kill, but if it doesn't, that's an issue. So he's going to switch here. I believe I go for Protect here, which is just awful. I wish Protect, Meteor Mash, and Toxic, I think. So nothing really I can do to this. I do go for Protect, which was just really, really bad play on my end. Because again, he needs the sand for Excadrill. So I should just, if I could just sacked off Jirachi, then, I mean, there you go. Like, then I just bring in Sceptile and, you know, wait for the Sandstorm to subside. But no, I'm going to switch out here, go right into Scar. My Gliscor, luckily now rocks up, so that's good. He goes for SD here, which is unfortunate. Judging by his health, we have, with the leftovers, obviously, we have a pretty decent chance of taking him out with EQ. In fact, judging by the roll we get later on, I'm pretty sure an EQ from this range would have taken him out, but obviously, he's going to go for the Iron Head, and the one time he needs it, he's going to get the flinch. And this is awful because this thing's in the sand. I'm not going to sack off Gliscor because if he gets the sand back up, he wins with Excadrill. So I need to save the Gliscor. That really sucked though. That put me on tilt. But I mean, Gliscor can still takes hits as long as he's not at +2. So I'm going to switch into Cryptic here, take the Iron Head, and I'm going to go for the Doom Desire because, which is what I should have done a long time ago. I don't know why I switched into Gliscor. As he went for ST, because the Doom Desire would have been really nice for me there. But no, instead, I mean, Gliscor was the right play, but, you know, it was just a very obvious play. So yeah, as he's going to, you know, he's at full health. Gonna go for the Doom Desire, like I said, which I should have done a while. Look at that animation. That, the freaking eye opens, that's amazing. Okay, and then he's gonna go for sub, which I really predicted him to do. He's still +2, but the sand is gone, so as long as I get this sub out of the way, the sock should be able to, you know, drop something on his team. So I'm going to just go for a protect here, I believe, because I don't care how many SDs he gets up, he still won't be able to outspeed sock, because the sand's gone, of course. So we're going to live the EQ because I got protected again. There's just so many plays just over and over. I mean, you know, rinse and repeat, right? But yeah, I'm going to just go for the protect there. I go for the wish here because the sand isn't up. I have enough speed to outspeed this thing, so I'm going to throw out the wish, and that's going to be really nice. And yeah, so yeah, we are max HP, so it's going to be a pretty bulky wish. It's going to go over EQ here, which is going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And then Cryptic obviously drops, which is fine. But yeah, so Jirachi goes down, and it's okay because Doom Desire goes down, and it's going to break this up. I mean, even a max. Sorry if my commentary is lacking here. I'm just kind of, you know, it's kind of hard to commentate the same thing over and over because it's extra draw. I mean, you know, whatever. So I went for the Doom Desire. If you don't know, 140. It's basically future sight. Except it has 140 base power and it's a steel type move, so it was resisted. But even a max HP Excadrill does not live a Doom Desire with a sub up. Like the sub will break no matter what. So he goes into Rampage. I was really if he dies to rocks there, I just win straight up. But unfortunately, he doesn't die to sand, or he doesn't die to rocks. So he gets the sand up. So that's gonna let Excadrill outspeed me. And because yeah, the sand is the ability to sand rush, which is it's kind of funny because you buffed this sand here. I was talking about in the game or in the team builder how inner focus was so nice, but if I had sturdy here, I would have been able to just straight up win because I would have lived any one hit from this thing, and you know, and obviously take this thing out of close combat. But since I don't have sturdy, I can't stay in because Sock is my ticket to winning, or Sceptile. I mean, either one as long as I, you know, get damage off on this thing. So he goes to Iron Head, which is fine. I'm going to live that, and looking at the damage, it's a roll to take me out with another one. At this point, I really don't care if he flinches me, because, I mean, you know, it's just like, I don't really care if he flinches me, because as long as the sand goes down, I'll outspeed the Sock and win. So he does not take me out with Iron Head. That means I'm going to be able to get an EQ off, and that's amazing because now he can't sweep me because sand is going to subside. I don't take him out with EQ. The better play there would have been to roost because then I would have won a 3-0, but because I would have just been able to stall this thing out. I mean, it can't be the Gliscor, especially if the sand isn't up, because then I have a chance to outspeed it. So whatever. So he goes for another Iron Head to take me out. Again, I should have roosted because EQ looks like it wouldn't have killed. But looking at that much damage, if I hadn't got flinched with the Iron Head before, I probably would have OHKO'd this thing with the EQ at the range it was at before. And if I had done that, I probably would have outspeed T-Tar and just won. Like, it would have been like a 4-0. But instead, it's like a actually no, it's gonna be a 1-0 because the sand's still up, and I have to yeah. So if he had lived the or if my Gliscor didn't live that second Iron Head, then the sand would have been up for 2 more turns, or 3 more turns actually, and then Sock would have not been able to outspeed. But because I lived 2 Iron Heads there, I was able to stall out the sand turns, and obviously it doesn't matter what health this thing is at, I'm going to be able to take it out with close combat every single time. Scarfed Sock coming in clutch. That was amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching. It was a long battle, but we took the W. We took the win against Blue Rogue. Definitely a good game. I think we played very well. The Cryogonal was clutch. The Sock was a really good bring against this team. And yeah, the Gliscor won. I mean, everything pretty much did something, you know. So that's nice. Anyway, that's gonna be the game. I liked bringing that Jirachi set. I really thought I really should have brought Scarf Jirachi there, but whatever. That's okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for next week, and I'll see you guys next time.